90 something.
So I'll fix it. You face it.
Yeah.
So I'll move it around.
She was his caretaker.
Kind of.
Yeah.
The
What's your
caretaker.
last name?
Fujikura.
Hi.
She was sick.
Going. My grandson's classmate.
Cool. Oh,
They made a school.
Like
small world.
When you look at my
Because
grandson, he looks
when I first
all
know he
Yeah.
you know, and people ask him, where's your Hawaii? It's my grandma.
couldn't even get out of bed. That's how bad.
Look like you know.
I was like,
Wow.
and then, so at first I could get out of bed, use the bathroom and stuff, but then within 2 hours after I woke up, I was like,
Oh,
but yeah, my sister, so she drove me over to the,
urgent care or something.
yeah, urgent care and pro rape, pro chi.
Yeah.
I cannot thank you.
Yeah. If I didn't have anybody.
My
That's, hey, it's, you gotta have some backup somewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the Salt Lake Village Airport neighborhood board of 18. Today is March 13th and it's 6:30 in the evening. Let's get our meeting started. Let's all rise for the Hawaiian National Anthem sung by our own board member, Nicole Hine.
Oh, like,
I think it's voluntary to acknowledge.
But I would encourage all of us, especially if you went to school here in Hawaii, you know the words to Hawaii. Let's get started with our meeting with a roll call of board members. Secretary Connie Morrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Larry Baird. Not here. Okay. Douglas Fujikura. James Gower. I think he's going to be late, yeah. Lorene Godfrey. Thank you. Nicole Hine. Patty Igawa. Joseph Omura. David Yomes. And myself. So we have a quorum. Thank you.
We do have a quorum. Let's start our meeting up with the Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, Captain Steve Wells from Wallace Fire Station. There was an email, I guess, to our community relations office regarding the 1352 Pineapple Place with the Hawaii Fest. So there was 2 medicals that HFD responded to. We can't speak on behalf of EMS, but the first call came in at 9:08 on February 15th, and EMS canceled HFD units. The second was on the 16th at 6:01 p.m., and also HFD units were canceled. And then now this is Firefighter Sam for our notes.
Good evening, firefighter Sam Cattle. The statistics provided below represent confirmed number of incidents in the neighborhood board's geographical area for the previous month. For more details on the incidents and related mapping information, please visit the fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. Should you have any questions, please email the HFD's Public Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. The incident statistics for February 2025 are as follows. For fires, we had 2 structure fires and 4 activated alarms with no fire. For medical emergencies, there were 43, and motor vehicle crash and collisions, we had 5. Nuisance fires include rubbish fires outside a structure or a vehicle, and there were none. Fire safety tips and announcements for March. Fire safety tip is about smoke alarms. Smoke alarms are crucial for saving lives and play a key role in home fire escape plan. When installed properly and maintained correctly, they provide early alerts, giving occupants the chance to evacuate quickly. Install smoke alarms in every bedroom outside each separate sleeping area, like a hallway, and on each level of the home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button. Replace smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. Thank you.
Board, any questions for the fire department? More?
Yeah, I have a question for you folks. I heard, did I hear correctly when you said 5 motor vehicle collisions or something like that? Is it, I know you don't have it now, but is it possible to get the locations of those 5 areas for our next meeting?
Yeah,
You don't have to explain what it was, just,
just have to email that, the email, and then the community relations will go through the actual.
yeah, because we're trying to pinpoint certain areas, like we have our suspicions on certain like the residential areas, not the main. I mean, I'm sure a lot of accidents happen there. So, but if you can find out, I think we'll.
Yeah, if you email, and then on the website, I think they actually have where a lot of the alarms are happening.
Okay, what is the email address? I mean, the website again?
Yeah, so the website is fire.honolulu.gov. And then there's going to be a tab that says News and Info tab. And that will have all the information on all of the incidents. So you can look up directly the motor vehicle. News and Info tab.
Audience, you have any questions for the fire department? Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Moving on to the Honolulu Police Department, District 3 covers Foster Village.
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Glenn Iwasaki from District 3 Pro City. So I'll start with the reported incidents for AliamanuSalt. This is comparison from January 2025 to February 2025. Motor vehicle thefts, it was 1 and it remained at 1. Burglaries was 0 in January and up to 4 February 2025. Thefts were 2, went up to 6, and car break-ins went down to from 1 to down to 0. Calls for service for this area, January 2025, 258. February 2025, 240. This is total calls for service District 3. January was 5,191. February, 4,966. The safety tip of the month is don't leave valuables in your car. It is not a storage unit, it is a target. And also I brought the locations for these incidents. The burglary happened on Kukila Street. Looks like this was a home that's being built. Unknown suspects at this time. And there was a theft on Epukane Street of monies. A large amount of money. And there was looks like a moped or motorcycle that was stolen on P.K. Street. That's for the one auto theft report. And lastly, property damage. Looked like damage to windshield on a caller's vehicle on Lehia Street. Yeah, and that's that covers the reported incidents for that beat 384.
Any questions, board member? Stormore?
I think I misheard you. So can you repeat? You said something about 2 deaths to 6 deaths?
Oh no, thefts,
Oh,
sorry,
thefts.
thefts, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
You gonna put that ear stuff on? Audience, any questions for the police department in Foster Village? Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Honolulu Police Department, Kalihi Station, covering Salt Lake, Aliamanu, and the airport, and Mapunapuna, and everything else.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Creighton Hatiko. I'm one of the nighttime commanders here at the Kalihi Station. Let me give you the stats for the month of February. No aggravated assaults. There was 1 auto theft, 2 burglaries, no rapes, sex assaults, no robberies, 3 simple assaults, 3 thefts, and 3 thefts from vehicles. Total calls for service this month in our area of responsibility was 528, which is down a bit from 576 in January. I'm sorry, I don't have specifics of the locations. I was trying to compile some information for you guys that I know you guys are interested in regarding the High Finest Festival that occurred at Mauna Loa Gardens. So basically, over the 2 days, we were able to locate 2 calls for service that specifically noted loud noise and parking issues. So there were 10 total calls into 911. But I was working at the station on those days, and during my watches on the 2 days, I would say we averaged 30 informal calls into the station itself, complaining about the noise and other issues. So it's safe to assume that the festival started early, like 11 or something, just before noon. So I'm sure Daywatch had about the same amount of calls about the noise and things like that. What I would suggest, you guys would probably want to try and invite the Damien Estate, who owns Mauna Loa Gardens, to maybe have them come and speak to you guys, and you guys can ask them questions about the thought process, and you guys can express to them the impact it has on the citizens of that neighborhood, especially it's a 2-day event. And as I understood it, people as far away as the Safeway was hearing the noise and calling about it and thinking that it's a neighbor or a loud stereo, and it's actually a concert all the way in the valley. So a tip for the month, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there have been a lot of incidents lately regarding vehicles versus wheelchairs. And because we live in our areas are very tight, and there's vehicles and pedestrians everywhere, but people in wheelchairs are especially vulnerable because they're so low to the ground. And a lot of the vehicles nowadays, the windows aren't optimized for viewing out the side. So a lot of times what happens is when you're entering a driveway, either in a residential or a business area, you're so concerned with watching traffic that you don't realize that someone lower than your field of vision had kind of slipped into your view. So that's one of the things I stress to my officers, to make sure that they know what's in front of them. And it's also better to be cautious when we're pulling out, move slowly, so that if you do realize at the last second, you have the ability to stop in a hurry. So I suggest the same things for everyone here. It's on everyone to be careful, also including the pedestrians and those operating the wheelchairs. But when you're in your vehicle, you have the huge advantage in a situation, yeah. And injuries to the person can be catastrophic, even deadly. Any questions or concerns?
Board, any questions for the police department? Mr. O'More?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, this is a curiosity question. Is there, I guess I see a lot of homeless guys walking back and forth around the Mapunapuna area. And I go running there a lot. So I was wondering, and most of them, they hang out by the stream, like when you come from Middle Street, you're going westward.
Yeah.
Right? And there's that stream and whatever. And
With
then,
underpass and stuff like
yeah.
that. Mhm.
And then I forgot the name of that road, but by Mapunapuna, there's like the bikeway. And inside there's like a lot of dogs and stuff with the homeless guys.
Along by the industrial area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has there been complaints on that or are they maintaining? Just
Constant,
curious.
constant complaints. And it's something that we're constantly trying to maintain, but it's difficult. Assigned to that area, I have 3 officers daily during my watch.
So is that something maybe the city needs to come up with something so you guys can have some kind of guideline to follow to enforce?
They've given us pretty good guidelines, but it becomes an issue of manpower. And
Okay.
it's something that it's hard to maintain for 24 hours, especially in Kalihi with the number of calls for service.
Mhm.
The 528 that I noted, that's only for 2 beats. We have, our calls are in the thousands every month. So the 3 officers, sometimes they're overwhelmed. And the process really for addressing homeless people is kind of, it's extensive because we want to protect their civil liberties as well and make sure we're doing it correctly. So a lot of times, officers might only be able to address 1 person per watch, and we work a 13-hour shift. Yeah, because we have to wait for someone to come and pick up all their property. And we have to do a lot of different checks. We make sure that there's shelters open. And it's just very involved process, but it's something that we take seriously because we don't want anybody feeling unsafe in their neighborhoods. But it's an ongoing struggle. And the heart of it is all of the homeless, the heavy homeless service areas is all in Ivale. So they're gonna stay where the services are. And unfortunately, they're building, not unfortunately, but they're gonna be building another type of living area to address that, and I'm glad. But that's gonna make another influx of people move into the area because that's where the services, the food, and a lot of their treatment facilities are gonna be. So it's something we're working with the city, mayor's office, everybody's kind of, we're hands-on now, but it's hard to get ahead of it. And, we're talking about people, yeah, so we want to have compassion as well. Some officers honestly feel bad about really picking on somebody when they're so down on their luck, yeah.
Any other questions, board? Audience, any questions for Kali District? I have a couple, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
We attended a meeting on yesterday with board members Karimaro and Fujikura at the Salt Lake District Park. I was surprised to hear that in the district park in the evening, they had 7 break-ins through the city buildings in the park in 2 months. Can you follow up on that and let us know at the next meeting that's a valid
Okay,
concern and see what we can do as a community to, I know they locked the gates at 9, I think. But
is
I
that
guess-
the
I guess
park where you guys used to have the meetings at?
Yes, the Salt
Okay.
Lake District Park.
All right.
So, I don't know, maybe we can talk, I know they kind of have cameras on the city parks property, but, if you can give us that information and we can see what, we can help with that along with the city officials.
Okay, I will look that up, sir.
Thank you. And one other thing, there's the homeless, speaking of homeless, at Salt Lake District Park, they're living in the canal as you enter the parking lot. And the police, stood by as the golf course removed these people from the water area next to the other side of the fence line of Salt Lake District Park. So that belongs to the whole golf course. So my thing is the car that they use is in the parking lot. It's all expired. I can give you the license plate number and, I don't know, sometimes I know once before I seen that vehicle in there, they just locked the gate. So I don't know if this is a nightly thing where they're allowed to stay in there and not be towed away. If you can follow up on that, I can give you the license plate, but I won't give it to you now, but
Okay,
I have it on a piece of paper for you.
all right, no
You can
problem.
follow up on that as well.
I will.
Like I said, they left, they were warned, and now they're back again. So we need to contact the golf course and arrange something for these people to get out of that drainage ditch area. That's it. Audience, anything else for the police department? Thanks, Lieutenant.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night, Andy.
Okay, we're moving on to our agenda. We have our Community Warrior of the Month Award, which we present every month. At this time, I'll turn over the microphone to Vice Chair Nicole Hine.
Test. Okay. Aloha kako. Mahalo, Chair Yomes, for the foresight to create such a tool for our board to be able to recognize community members, community initiatives, and efforts that are going on that really uplift where we live. And it's a great precedent-setting thing. I'm going to share with our fellow board members throughout the island of Oahu that maybe they get encouraged to do the same thing. I will start with this month's Warrior of the Month. This month, we'd like to acknowledge the Suafo'a Ainga. They're here tonight. The award certificate segment at our meetings is to honor those people who have made or are making a difference in our neighborhood board number 18 community by their outstanding contributions in helping our neighborhoods to be the best place to live, work, and play. And it is long overdue for our community to recognize these movers and shakers of our community, past, present, and what better way to do that than to do it at the people's meeting, which is at the neighborhood board level, right here. The Suafo'a Ainga, or family, immigrated from American Samoa to California and eventually settled in Aliamanu, Hawaii, where Lote and Uwati Suafo'a Sr., a proud member of the U.S. Marines, raised their 4 sons, Kose, Etuale, Uwati Jr., and Sefo, on Likini Street, the longest street in this whole district, by the way. Yeah. And after Uwati Sr.'s untimely passing at the age of 39, the matriarch, Lote Suafo'a, raised her 4 sons with humble means, instilling in them the values of hard work, sacrifice, perseverance, and service to their community. And Radford High School was not only a place where the Suafo'a men went to school, it was a community. It was a place that offered the security of home. Coach John Velasco, who is a legend, not just at Radford High School, but in all of Hawaii, who the RHS football stadium is lovingly named after, served as a father figure to the young Suafo'a men in the aftermath of their own father's untimely passing. Etuale Suafo'a was a standout student athlete at Radford High School, serving as co-captain of the 1968 OIA championship team, earning the title of the OIA's most outstanding lineman, and helping to spark the iconic "I Believe" model that still defines Radford's spirit today. His leadership on and off the field laid the foundation for a lifelong commitment to mentorship and education. And after graduating from Eastern Washington University in 1973, Etuale played for the Hawaiians in the World Football League before returning home to Hawaii to embark on a distinguished career in education. Over the span of more than 20 years, he served as an outreach counselor, coach, and vice principal at Moanalua High School before transitioning back to Radford High School to be the vice principal there, where he retired from the Department of Education in 2006. His legacy as an educator, mentor, and leader continues to impact generations of students, athletes, and community members. To also honor the commitment and hard work of their predecessors and to give back to the Radford High School community that has given so much to their family, Etuale and his wife Connie, along with his amazing daughters, Dr. Bernadette Tyrell and Dr. Samra Suafo'a, established the Suafo'a Strong Scholarship Fund in 2015 to support Oceanic students at Radford High School who demonstrate a commitment to education, post-high school planning, and community service. This year, they celebrate, sorry, I'm gonna cry. They celebrate 10 years of positive impact to our community. And you all know that I went to Moanalua High School, so this is very difficult to shout out Radford High School this way. But in the spirit of community, I do so proudly tonight in recognizing this program that the family has created. Etuale Suofo'a passed away unexpectedly on December 26, 2023, leaving behind a lasting legacy of service and dedication to his community. And in the past 10 years, the Suofo'a family has raised over $11,000 to support 15 Radford High School students in their academic pursuits. And in 2024, to honor the one-year passing of their father, the daughters and his lovely wife organized the first annual Suofo'a Strong 9-hole golf tournament, which raised an additional $5,000 to support the 2024 Radford Rams football team's travel to the Pacific Northwest to compete. That annual golf tournament is held at the Moanalua Golf Course, right there in Moanalua Valley. And carrying on the family legacy, Dr. Bernadette Tyrell and Dr. Samra Suofo'a, both Moanalua High School graduates and accomplished athletes, this is where we come in. We're coming right at the end. Have pursued distinguished careers in education, with Bernie currently serving as principal of Castle High School in Kaneohe, Hawaii, and Samra as the assistant director of teacher education at Claremont Graduate University. And tonight, we, as part of the Neighborhood Board 18, Salt Lake, Aliamanu Airport, and Foster Village Neighborhood Board number 18, recognizes the Suofo'a Ainga with the March 2025 Warriors of the Month. Can we please get a round of applause for this ohana?
In a couple of minutes, we'll have the board along with the Suofo'a family come up front as we present the City and County of Honolulu Neighborhood Commission Office Certificate of Recognition. I just want to read the certificate to you really quick, and then board, then we can assemble in the front of these tables along with the family. The AliamanuSalt Lake, Foster Village, and Airport Neighborhood Board 18 wishes to recognize the Suofo'a family for their volunteerism and educational contributions to the community. Your dedication and partnership in the community speaks volumes of your commitment in serving others. We thank Lote and Oate Suofo'a Sr. for bringing their family to our Aliamanu community many years ago. Oate Sr. served his country bravely and honorably in the United States Marine Corps. They had 4 sons, Kose, Etoale, Oate Jr., and Sefo. The parents instilled in their sons great and honorable values, which they passed on to their offspring. The Suofo'a family later pursued distinguished careers in education at Radford High School and Moanalua High School. Surely was blessed by this family in so many ways. This board takes great pleasure in presenting the Suofo'as with the Neighborhood Board number 18 Warrior of the Month Award Certificate for March 2025. Board, let's get up front and join the family presentation of certificate.
Just to mention, tonight we have Connie Suofo'a, who is Etuale's wife, Dr. Bernadette Tyrell, also her husband Julian Tyrell, and grandson Kaniva. And on the Zoom, we have Dr. Samra Suofo'a on there. Sorry, we're blocking her way.
Remember, applying for bringing the lead because $5.
Would anybody from the family like to say anything right before we take our picture?
Sure. Bring the laptop. Yeah, I'll hold her. I think we just want to say a very heartfelt thank you. It's just kind of like a little bit surreal for us because our dad, there's so many stories growing up about the communities, both of them, like his heydays at Radford and Aliamanu, of course. And, growing up in the public education system, we literally grew up in the high schools because he was just always there. He's like a constant figure there. But it's just the fact that we get to give back to our Pacific Islander students because they are doing the work and they do want to leave an impact in their community. And then moving forward, we want them to be globally competitive, but locally committed. We want them to come back and live and work in Hawaii. And the more that we invest in our students, it's a reciprocal effect. Then they give back to us. So I think that's the best, the most gratifying reward. And I think that's something, a legacy that our father left, and we just strive to continue to emulate that. So thank you very much.
This is overwhelming. I mean, this is so special to us, and listening to all the verbiage was wonderful, coming from you especially. I love it. Oh, by the way, I was gonna dress up tonight, but this is a Radford Suafoa Strong shirt, and he was 66 on his football team. But this is very special. Thank you so much.
Please, any alumni, we have the golf tournament every year in February, right after Valentine's Day. So please participate if you want to get involved and give back.
We're still accepting, I think, donations until the end of the month. Yeah, because we present it every May, about the middle of May. Anyone interested? Will let us know. All right. Thank you.
We're going to do the resolution now. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. But this is your Radford.
I would ask the Suafoa family to stick around for about another 5 minutes. We have a resolution that we'll be introducing related to this award. On to board action. On our list is a Suafoa family resolution certificate. We're requesting that the city council take action regarding this award. And I'm just going to quickly read the resolution because some of the words are the same, but we'll go through that quickly and we'll open it up for discussion among the board. The resolution reads, whereas the Warrior of the Month Award certificate segment at our meetings is to honor those people who have made or are making a difference in our neighborhood Board 18 community by their outstanding contributions in helping our neighborhoods to be the best place to live, work, and play. And whereas it is long overdue for our community to recognize these movers and shakers of our community, past and present, and what better way to do that at the people's meeting right here. Whereas the Suafoa Aiga family immigrated from American Samoa to California and eventually settled in Aliamanu, Hawaii, where Lote and Uate Suafoa Sr., a proud member of the U.S. Marine Corps, raised their four sons, Kosi, Etoale, Uate Jr., and Sefo on Likini Street. And whereas after Uate Sr. untimely passing at the age of 39, Lote Suafoa raised their four sons with humble means, instilling in them the values of hard work, sacrifice, perseverance, and service to their community. And whereas Radford High School was not only a place where the Suafoa men went to school, it was community, and it was a place that offered the security of home. Host John Velasco, who was the Radford football, the stadium is named after him, and was the football coach, is lovingly named after him, served as a father figure to the young Suafoa men in the aftermath of their own father's untimely passing. Whereas Etuale Suafoa was a standout student athlete at Radford High School, serving as co-captain of the 1968 OIA championship team, earning the title of OIA's most outstanding lineman, and helping to spark the iconic, I believe, motto that still defines Radford High School's spirit today. His leadership on and off the field laid the foundation for a lifelong commitment to mentorship and education. And whereas after graduating from Eastern Washington University in 1973, Etuale played for the Hawaiians in the World Football League before returning home to Hawaii to embark on a distinguished career in education. Over the span of more than 20 years, he served as an outreach counselor, coach, and vice principal at Moanalo High School before transitioning to Radford High School to be the vice principal, where he retired from the Department of Education in 2006. His legacy as an educator, mentor, and leader continues to impact generations of students, athletes, and community members. And whereas to honor the commitment and hard work of their predecessors and to give back to the Radford High School community that is giving so much to their family, Etuale and his wife Connie, along with his amazing daughters, Dr. Bernadette Tyrell and Dr. Samara Suafoa, established the Suafoa Strong Scholarship Fund in 2015 to support oceanic students at Radford High School who demonstrate a commitment to education, post-high school planning. Isn't prepared for the next page, sorry. And community service. This year, they celebrate 10 years of positive impact to our community. And whereas Etuale passed away unexpectedly on December 26, 2023, leaving behind a lasting legacy of service and dedication to his community. And whereas in the past 10 years, the Suafoa family has raised over $11,000 to support 15 Radford High School students in their academic pursuits. And in 2024, in honor of their father, Etuale, the daughters organized the first annual Suafoa Strong 9 Hole Golf Tournament, which raised an additional $5,000 to support the 2024 Radford Rams football team's travel to the Pacific Northwest to compete. And whereas, carrying on the family legacy, Dr. Bernadette Tyrell and Dr. Samara Suafoa, both Moanalo High School graduates and accomplished athletes, have pursued distinguished careers in education, with Bernie currently serving as principal of Castle High School in Kaneohe, Hawaii, and Samara as the assistant director of teacher education at Claremont Graduate University. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Salt Lake Aliamanu Airport and Foster Village Neighborhood Board 18 recognizes and honors the Suafoa Aiga as the March 2025 Warrior of the Month for their unwavering dedication to the betterment of their community, their commitment to educational excellence, and their inspiring legacy of service and perseverance. And be it resolved, we humbly request that City Council Member Radian Cordero honor the Suafoa family by presenting the family with a certificate recognizing the Suafoa family for their commitment and unselfish service to our community. May this certificate be presented to the family in front of the full council during a regularly scheduled meeting at City Hall. Be it finally resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the Suafoa family and made available for public record in recognition of their outstanding contributions to our community. This was submitted by Vice Chair Nicole Hine, and she did an excellent job in this resolution. Thank you, Nicole. With that said, is there any, Nicole, why don't you start the discussion regarding this resolution?
I'd like to make a motion for the board to pass this resolution.
Any discussion? Hearing none, take a vote. Secretary.
Maybe a roll call or you just. Member Fujikura. So you're voting to approve the resolution. Member Godfrey. Member Hein. Member Igawa. Member Kanemaru. Member Omura. Chair Yomes.
Aye.
7-0-0.
With that
Adopted.
said, the resolution is adopted and will be sent to the city council for action. It's moving on, and thank you, the Sofo family, for coming this evening. I really appreciate you guys and really appreciate your family. You guys, throughout the years, I was in Aliamanu for 50 years, and I know your family, and you guys are just part of the community. And I'm so glad that you guys were part of the community and you guys excelled in education, and all the kids in Aliamanu and all the surrounding areas really benefited from your family's knowledge and help. Thank you.
Mahalo. Mahalo, you guys. Mahalo.
Okay, moving on our agenda, we have community events, updates, and concerns. Let's start with Secretary Kanemaru. Can you give an update on the Salt Lake Waterway and what we did on Saturday?
Thank you, Chair. On March 8th, we were able to get about, I'll say 70 volunteers from the community. So military, community members, Country Club Village residents. And what we did was we actually had cut down all of the koa trees and well, they're koa. It's the invasive one, by the way. Yeah, not the good one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, but the invasive one. And we actually had all the members, what they did was they actually cleaned it up by picking it, all the rubbish up, and DFM. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Joel. Yes, David, Doug. Yeah, they all hustled, and they were the leaders of this movement that we did. And we also made 1,031 Genki balls on the property of the Country Club Village. And so we will be having the Genki ball toss. It takes 2 weeks to cure. So we'll be having the actual toss. So please join us. This will be, we're meeting at the Howard Shima, Likiti Street Mini Park at 1 o'clock on March 22nd, Saturday. So please join us for the Genki ball toss. Everyone's invited, and we'll have refreshments also. Thank you.
Audience, any other events, updates, and concerns? And come up to the microphone. Your name and company you're with.
Yeah, my name's Joel Nelson. I'm with TNT Constructors. We're working on the water tank replacement project at the Halava water tank storage facility. Been providing updates the last few months. Community here, so just kind of following up now. We're about 60% complete on the water tank itself. Be pouring. I got a little timeline here. These flyers are available in the back here. I gave these to the board and the chair. But we're right on schedule to be complete with that project in September this year. New concrete water tank. And then additionally, upcoming project that we were awarded is the new water line. It's a new water line running from that area down through Bougainville Drive, underneath Bougainville Drive to Salt Lake Boulevard. That's upcoming. We're starting work on that inside the water tank storage area in late April this year. Working our way out probably late summer, early fall, actually into Bougainville Drive. But we will be tunneling underneath that. There will be some traffic control We'll be making sure to talk to the community members, residents, businesses, schools, Radford High School's right there, to try to mitigate as much as we can with the impact on that. And yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
Board, any questions for the speaker? Audience, any questions to the speaker? Thank you. Anything else from the audience you want to bring up to the board and the community? Let's move on our agenda. City elected officials, Mayor Rick Blangiardi's office.
Good evening, Board. My name is Brian Gallagher. I'm the Mayor's Rep for City County of Honolulu. So we usually start off with, we can start with some updates from the questions that came from last week. There was a question during the fireworks discussion. Does E&V, are they able to, or the sewer, or not sewer, the trash pickup department, are they able to analyze what is going into the trash to see if they can track down where illegal fireworks are? And unfortunately, right now, they don't have that capacity in the way they pick up the bins and put them into the truck, but they are looking into other options, because sometimes they do have cameras that actually look and how they line up, so if they can see something, that they're going to try and see if there's an option. But and then there was another question about how is the city, state, and federal efforts working to prevent fireworks coming through the harbors? So HPD does coordinate with, there is a federal group that tracks certain events and things that are coming in through shipping efforts. The harbors are a state jurisdiction. We also work with the Coast Guard, so we all work together. Well, right now, a lot of those things are checking out shipping containers and having that those investigations. That's all under the state's jurisdiction. Let's see. I know there was a comment earlier from one of the police officers talking about homeless services in Evelay Center. If you don't know where that is, it's pretty close to Ala Park, kind of Chinatown area. The city bought a property there a few years ago. It's bordered between kind of near Nimitz and between near Ala Park and Dillingham. The city's going to be building a rail station there. And so we're going to combine that with a future affordable housing effort. So for now, under the current building, there's going to be an expanded homeless outreach. And so until the new development comes in, which is going to be years away for affordable housing, we're going to be doing a lot of homeless services in that area. And the city has committed $5 million from our affordable housing fund to support nonprofit groups and public agencies building rental housing for residents earning 60% or less of the area median income. So if you look at a lot of affordable housing projects, they try to come in at like either what the average income is in the area, either 100% or 120, 140% to be able to afford the construction of that development. The city's trying to look for a team up with nonprofits to really hit the lower levels at 60% or even below. Let's see. We also have something we'd like to bring to people's attention is the FEMA. They're coming out with new flood maps. They have a website. There is a comment period. There is some expansion of flood zones in a lot of these areas and a lot of these maps. So if you were near any of these areas, be aware, because it could affect your insurance for your home or property. The city has a website that we have it's a real good tool to track what was the previous flood zones and what is the new ones. It's under our CCSR, Conservation, Sustainability, Resiliency. So yeah, just check out honolulu.gov, look for that CCSR website, and it's literally a slide tool, and it really helps you see before and after. But it's something to be aware of because they're going through a comment period now. The city also has a Clean Water and Natural Lands Fund, and we're looking for people who are interested in land conservation proposals. Let's see. The City and County of Honolulu has also been designated as a bike-friendly community. We recently received an award It's going into kind of coordination with DOT. They're going to be expanding the Pearl Harbor bike path. They've already started construction to replace a lot of pavement. They'd like to extend that bike path well through into actually one day, maybe even all the way to Waianae or through Eva and all the way into town. It's a pretty extensive effort, but we'd like to see it one day. And then, yeah, we'd like to bring everybody's attention to the city's going to have a hiring event at the Blaisdell on March 15th. It's this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have a large spectrum of positions open. Please come down. We're definitely looking for engineers, planners. But yeah, anything we can get, we'll definitely take. We appreciate it. And a lot of this information can be seen on the mayor's highlights newsletter. There's a copy in the back if people want to pick up one. And you can also go to the mayor's website, honolulu.gov, mayor. He has a link there. It has more information on everything we spoke about and more links to more details. So any questions from the
Board, any questions for the mayor's office? Mr. O'More?
Yeah, sorry, I get all the questions. I have a question. This is something that I don't think you folks have done, but I was just wondering if it's something you can do. And again, it pertains with the affordable housing, homeless, that area. I know there's like a little settlement right by Kehi Lagoon. And is there like an update that maybe you guys can report to the board, like maybe once every 6 months, something like that, or once every quarter or whatever you guys decide, that's fine. Just let us know like how they're progressing, that little encampment thing there at Kehi Lagoon. I know they also built like little houses also outside of Kehi Lagoon by that military, whatever, a little further down, closer towards, almost towards the
Shafter Flats?
I don't know. Okay, it's just before you turn down Sand Island Road, right? About a block, about a half a mile west. I said, yeah, yeah. I guess that's that
Yeah.
housing they built, right?
I think I know the area you're talking
Yeah.
about.
And then just
Waikiki Village.
right, if you can like let us know like how's the development and stuff going, because I think those were like experiments, right? That I don't know if you guys are doing that or the state.
Yeah, I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, okay,
not
thanks.
sure.
That was it.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Thank you.
Board, any other question? Mr. O'More? Hold on. Audience, you have any questions for the city? I have
you.
one. Can you follow up on, we had a meeting yesterday at the Salt Lake District Park, and I was surprised to find out that there were 7 break-ins, burglaries on the gym building and adjoining offices. Is that standard practice for the city parks and rec not to have cameras? Can you check on that?
Yeah, we'll definitely check on that.
And if not, maybe we can have the neighbors that live right at the entryway sum up with cameras so they can see who's coming in and out and try to prevent a lot of these break-ins. I think it'll benefit the people that live right at the gate as well. So
It's
get
good.
follow up for the next meeting.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion. Appreciate it.
And board members, audience, May 22nd will be the mayor's talk in our area at Radford High School Town Hall,
That's right.
just to remind everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May 22nd. The 6 o'clock, the time?
It'll be at Radford.
Yeah, Radford High School.
I'll check on the time. Yeah, it's usually 6:30 or 7 o'clock starting, but I'll confirm.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. This is just a comment. Sorry about that. To bring you back, Brian. But tonight is our regular neighborhood board meeting for our neighborhood board 18. It's always on the second Thursday of the month. So what I want to bring to your attention is that the ENV is having, or did have, this evening from 5 to 7. They had a town hall meeting to introduce the sewage, the new sewage fees that's going to be implemented. But it's just that it's for our district area, and we would like to, we would have liked to have those who are attending this meeting right now at neighborhood board meeting here to have attended also that meeting so that we can support or have any kind of questions. We lost that opportunity. But for scheduling purposes, I know there's one in Wayawa, but it's kind of out of our district at this time. So for people who, it's relevant to, please consider that for the next time. Can you
that-
please?
That's a fair comment.
Yes.
Completely understood.
Thank you.
On the agenda, Councilmember Reedy and Cordero.
Good evening, neighbors, neighborhood board members, Radiant Cordero, your Honolulu City Council member. First off, I just want to add some things to Deputy Director Gallagher's report. Our area town hall for the mayor will be, like you mentioned, Chair, Thursday, May 22, 2025. And yes, it'll be 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. So once again, that will be at Radford High School's cafeteria. And for the flood maps, that website will be at resilientoahu.org /firm FIRM -update. Firm FIRM -update. Okay, so that would be for looking at the FEMA flood insurance rate maps appeal process. Okay. So if you don't yet have my report, I hope that you'll be able to get it, but you can also see my report online if you go to honolulucitycouncil.org, click on my face, and then you'll go to all my e-newsletters and everything like that. There you'll be able to see that we have started our budget process. The mayor submitted their proposed budget to the city council on the last day of February. They have some proposals that does include provisional or backups or safeguarding for any federal funding positions that are that could have been lost from any federal funding loss, as well as paying for temporary hazard pay. So there are maybe about 2 or 3 different groups that we are looking at, or unions that we're looking at to having to pay out temporary hazard pay. So more money during our budget process may be necessary. So we are looking at a really tight budget this year, as well as the city council is looking at to decrease the percentage that our neighbors will have to pay for the sewer rate increase, which we are talking about today. I know that Director Babcock was here on January to talk about it, and we're looking at even further monies that we could take from anywhere. So, which sucks to say, because we have city agencies here. It's awkward to mention, but we have to find it somewhere, and we don't want it to fall on our neighbors. With that, our budget process will go up until our charter deadline is to approve the budget by June 15. Hopefully, we can come up with a budget that is balanced. And yeah, well, this is also the first year that I'm not the budget chair. So, phew, I guess. Sorry, I'm happy a little bit about it. And so, with that, I do want to also note that I'm open to the conversations. I definitely hear everyone's, all of my neighbors' concerns, and I'm placing that as in either bulk projects that already are in the budget or into projects that we can include. But once again, the budget is looking very slim for us. Next, yes, we do have the town halls listed. Once I found out about it, I did make a big stink about it with the director, and I decided to come to this neighborhood board instead of trying to balance going to both meetings. But also, my meeting did just end, and I ran here. But I did want to allow the information on the website. There's information on their website where you can see their presentations, as well. It will answer any frequently asked questions. With that, I do want to bring up, we have some bills, as I mentioned, maybe a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, we had Bill 52, which was addressing e-bikes. We do have another bill, which is Bill 61, because as HPD would mention to you all, not all of the, I guess, dangerous or reckless driving on bikes are on actual e-bikes. They're on other types of two-wheeled vehicles, right? So we are hopefully being able to cover that all, of course, pending any state legislation that may supersede or be in addition to the city council's legislation. Next, I do want to highlight, I did mention Bill 7 relating to fireworks at the last meeting. I did have an amendment. I was working with a few of our District 5 officers who actually did respond to the AliamanuSalt incident. And we were working on language. There was a lot of differing changes. We've been watching many of the bills that have been going through the state legislature. So the amendments that did go through last week was just to comport to what the state law will be after the legislative session. So we will see what happens moving forward. And next up, I don't know if everyone has been to the Reuse Hawaii new location at Stadium Marketplace. I love it. It's really, it's huge. And so I also love the wood that they have outside. They also have Japanese cedar wood, and I just love the smell of Japanese cedar wood. Anyway, it would be really great, maybe if you would like to have them to share a little bit about what their mission and vision is, and how they, yeah, they're in our neighborhood, so it'd be great to have them come by just to present if you want to. And I would love to connect you all with them. With that, I just wanted to take any questions after that. Thank you.
Board members, any questions for the council member? Mr. Omar.
Yeah, is the, we're talking about tight budgets and the federal government literally destroying the monies and stuff, I think. With that in mind, okay, the property taxes are set for this year, right?
Yes. Oh, I mean, they are proposed.
They're
Yes.
proposed,
They're proposed rates, correct.
you mean that we pay this year? Aren't they set already?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You mean what you've received in the mail?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
That's
Sorry.
for-
Not our budget.
that should be set, right? It's not going to be changed.
Yes, correct.
And then you guys are proposing for next year.
Correct.
Okay, and the second question was, what about bus fares?
Mhm.
Because I have a lot of senior friends that catch the bus, and I read a lot about the bus fares going up. Has that been finalized or what?
Not yet, but I will be able to put that in. I can also email it if you would like it earlier. Maybe I can email it, have the email to the board and Zoidel, the neighborhood assistant, so that we can get it out to you all quicker. But I do believe I had it in another newsletter, but I'll be sure to get it out to you folks again.
Anything else from the board? Audience, have any questions for the city council member? I have one. In your newsletter, I believe it was February or January, you had a couple complaints regarding the parking in Aliamanu where people are reserving stalls with cones and other items. What became of that investigation?
I'll have to follow up with that. I'm not 100% sure about what happened with that.
And the reason I ask is it's a major issue.
Mhm.
I went and not even half of the streets in Aliamanu, I counted over 200 orange cones and stanchions blocking parking spaces. So when they leave for work, they come home and they move their cones and stanchions and they have their parking. That is just not right. That's so wrong. Everybody who first come, first serve should be done that way. And it's not only orange cones and stanchions, it's planters, it's rubbish cans. It's getting crazy in Aliamanu and something needs to be done.
Yeah.
You can tell everybody that I'm the complainant. If they want to come to a meeting and grumble, they can. I know this was done in 2017 or 2018. I'm not sure. Some of the community came off and
I
I guess the chair wasn't too happy and he changed the decision of removing these items. But these items don't even belong to them. Most of them are state and city property. It's private construction items that they take from sites. So this happened in Waiawa and Whitmore Village. I believe back in 2014 when I was out there.
Mhm.
And the police didn't have to do anything. This was done by the Department of Transportation. They took all the orange cones and all the orange stanchions because the property is abandoned. It doesn't belong to anybody. They want to leave it on the road, then that property needs to be taken by the Department of Transportation. The rubbish cans, the refuse people came out and took the rubbish cans, and that made it a deterrent because now whoever owned that rubbish can would have to go to a refuse company and get their rubbish can back. So that's a deterrent for them. So we cannot just throw all of this on the police department, but the police department has to step up their game as well because there's so many abandoned cars, Aliamanu. They need to take care of that problem.
I don't know if any of you have been riding the bus through Aliamanu. I ride the bus through Aliamanu, and it's already scary going on the bus prior, but it has been even scarier because of how many more cones and actually bigger types of things are out there. So there is something that one of my colleagues is proposing for Department of Transportation Services to do more of the parking things or enforcement because HPD does have a little bit harder of a time to responding to everything, right? So we'll see. Something to add for that.
And just to add to that, what you just said, I think I was planning on doing a resolution or something to the city that we need to have more parking, obviously. Because even in Salt Lake, the condos, a lot of them, they don't even have parking stalls. They hunt every day, every night for a parking stall. Aliamanu, same way. There, these homes that get 10 to 15 people living in one residence, and there's like about 4 or 5 cars that need to find parking spaces. I was thinking out of the box, and I'm sure that was brought up. I know they have some programs like in Kalihi Valley, but I want it a little bit different as to maybe every homeowner can have one parking space in front of their gate, front of their driveway, but it must be, the car must be owned by the homeowner, and the description must be the same, and that all needs to be documented. They cannot just pass this permit around, and I think that'll help out with the parking. But as far as these orange cones and stanchions, that's a no-no. We need to get rid of
Yeah.
it.
Terry, I don't know if you remember though, but we've tried this twice in Aliamanu. They didn't want to have any of those changes because we could not guarantee that it would be in front of their home because they would be able to have at least 1 or 2 permits for 1 or 2 of their vehicles. But at the end of the day, I think it was in 2016 and then again in 2019, and they're like, you know what, just leave us alone. Don't bother what our way of life is, our way of parking is. But they just didn't want to go through that whole restricted parking zone process. I do think it would have worked wonderfully for them, but I know that, before I was a council member, I myself tried to work with them as a staffer.
Well, this is 2025. I
Yeah.
think is a thing that we need to address again. And if they don't want it, then fine. And you guys, the police needs to tow away these cars. The city needs to get all of these cones and stanchions off of the road. They're all abandoned property. They get the planters out right where the fireworks fire occurred. Few houses down, they got planters in the middle of the road.
Yeah,
It's
they do.
crazy. And all of this, they have deliveries every day as far as their rubbish bins. It stays there permanently in the road until they get back home. We got to put a stop to this. And
I do like the restricted parking zone idea again. Maybe 3rd time's a charm. I really would like to try it again. Thank you.
Vice Chair Haim.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to this. Parking is a symptom. It's a symptom of the unaffordability of housing for people. That's how you create massive numbers of people living in not the right amount. So parking is a symptom of our housing affordability problem. That's like we have more people living in a house. Zillow any of these properties around us, and you will see that they're going for my old house, nothing done new to it since 1959, will sell for $800,000 to $1 million. Until we tackle the problems, the symptoms are gonna continue to drive us crazy. Yeah, so we can either roll up our sleeves and try and attack those problems, because now that the city has not the city, but the state, and the city actually talking about ADUs. So on the same properties, more living spaces are being created because we can't afford to live here and more people got to live there. More parking needs are going to happen. So we can fiddle around with parking. We can, but it's just going to exacerbate something else. Because if we just got to, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of a much larger problem. So we can really deal with the problem or go back and forth on symptoms, to whichever way works. But
And I'm not going to argue that point, but I'm just going to say that along with the restricted parking zone, we have to make sure that they are able to have actual parking space on their property or not. And if they don't, a lot of the problem that we saw before was that they were using, a lot of it was for storage, and they would have available space for parking. So I think being able to kind of balance that out as well is something that it's a balance.
Just one other point. There's a lot of vehicles that are parked that are not registered,
Yes.
are not safety checked. I mean, those are violations. So maybe a violation aspect would help. I don't know.
That's 100% the first thing I would go with, actually. Yes, thank you, Board Member Godfrey. Thank you, board members.
Council member, one last point. Aliamanu, a lot of those homes are very old.
Yes.
They're grandfathered as far as their driveway. So when they do park their cars, they're blocking the sidewalk. So the people can't exercise on the sidewalks. The kids got to go walking in the road. A lot of problems that need to be followed up on as far as this parking issue is concerned. And Salt Lake, a few years back, I submitted to open up 200 parking stalls in Salt Lake, but that didn't hear anything after that as far as what the city decided. I'm going to resubmit that, trying to find more parking in the Salt Lake area, the condos. We desperately need parking, and we need to clamp down. This is going to be my third time complaining about this people that buy and sell vehicles and take off. They have close to 100 vehicles in Salt Lake, taking everybody's parking spaces. They buy and sell to the military. They put in the military newspaper. And every Thursday and Friday, because of the street sweeping, they're moving the cars back and forth. You can tell this, especially at Salt Lake Elementary School. The teachers don't have parking. You check on Saturday and Sunday. Why is in front of the school all the way down to the Salt Lake District Park? Why is every stall taken? These are these people. Like I said, 2 times I made a complaint. The city said they investigated. They said nothing they could do about it. There's no evidence. Well, now I have evidence. I see this guy walking around with these 50 keys in his hands on his thing, and he's moving cars all over the place. And I know that. And I can show to them what's happening out in Salt Lake, so we can get these stalls for our people.
Had success with DPP in Foster Village, so I can definitely have a process that works. Thank you.
Aloha Chair, Board, and community members. My name is Diamond Badalas, and I am the Information and Community at the Department of Hawaiian Homelands here on behalf of Governor Green's office. I have nothing to share from last month's meeting, but I can certainly take any questions or concerns from the community or the board.
A bit off of the side of questioning, but this past week has been the student taking their some sort of, I don't know if it's quarterly, semesterly, yearly exams kind of thing, national federal thing, testing. So they're taking that in a way that the can get like the averages of the scores when they come out.
We'll follow up. Thank you.
Just wanted to let the governor know his pick for Water Commissioner Loya seat horrible. If you can just transmit that his particular was not like 2 previous rounds of people that he was put up there. I think it's detrimental to our Water Commission. It does not it where institute the process and then shut that down and just place somebody on there that had much community disdain when that person makes everyone untrustworthy. It makes it look like the processes that were set up to set up a fair situation got sidetracked with politics, and someone that was connected to development was then put in a position that specifically put there for someone who has expert knowledge in Hawaiian knowledge and ways of water system, knowing water systems. Board, right, to Red Hill, right, we're super sensitive to water issues, especially now. That was a horrible, horrible mistake on the governor's part to sidestep his own process and place somebody in there like that. Mahalo.
Got it. Thank you.
Any questions from the office?
Thank you.
Moving on to Senator Lokai.
Aloha. The state has been spent $28 million in 15 years on stadium. Unfortunately, for the past 2 months, the House of Representatives bandied about a bill to kill the entire project. I'm happy to report that today the Senate got a hold of that bill, changed it up so that now the bill only resembles language that would allow the state to accept a gift from a benefactor out there. Apparently, there's individuals that are wealthy that are willing to put in money to help the state pay for a new stadium. I have always promised you from 2019 that the state's all in $350 million. We're never more. We expect the private sector, both on the development side as perhaps on the build a stadium that is north of $450 million. So the discussions about the killing stadium are finally behind us, and we're going to hopefully move forward by June of this year. End of June of this year, we'll have a contractor and leadership on the stadium stands there. Okay. Another front, finally, last week, after 79 years of having a paper egg form for all of us who come from the mainland, have to fill out. I cannot believe we've been addicted to paper for that long. 5 years. Move that onto an online platform. So in the future, when you come back from where mainland, you'll be able to fill out that egg form now on an app, and that I can't believe how long it took the state to migrate off of paper. It's a pilot program. So for the 3 months, just see what the response rate has been. What we've seen in the past is that paper egg form, 60% fill that thing up, 40% of you just and get north of 60% response rate at full board on every single flight that comes to us from the mainland. Egg or that paper egg form costs us $800,000 a year. It has provided us a false sense of security because only if you're honest and report something, that was our shield. You know, in 7 years, we've prosecuted zero. Not one has ever been prosecuted by that piece of paper. So I'm trying to compel the Department Act that $800,000 savings. Let's go buy some dogs and let's go have the dogs sniff your bags to make sure that you're an honest person, because we know that we live amongst some dishonest people coming here from the mainland. So that's what I'm trying to migrate us to first of all, educate you before you get on the plane about what not to bring to Hawaii, not when you're on the plane, which was the paper form, and then use that savings to actually go and your ban are not flowing into the state. A bit of good news for Honolulu High School. The governor released $2 million to refurbish and resurface their tennis courts. That tennis court has gotten a lot of wear, and now that we know that old people like to play pickleball, a lot of old people are going to Honolulu High School. I shouldn't say older people. Different set of folks, not just students, are going to the tennis courts and playing pickleball. And invite more individuals there. We're resurfacing that court. And kudos to the board for the Genki Ball program that Chandra has taken the lead on. Fantastic program. We've already seen through testing that the water quality has increased. I have been contributing by paying for and getting money to pay for all of those Genki balls. Not one dime of taxpayers' money is going into that. I'm just asking for kokua from people in the community, environmental groups and others to help pay for the good work that Chair Yomes and Chandra have. That's my report.
Any questions for the senator? Mr. Moore, that's your 12th question. You have one more left. Go ahead.
Okay. You were talking about the stadium, right? And of course, you cleared that issue that I was going to stadium people. But another question I'm going to ask them that I might ask you to know a lot about the stadium issue. I had a Radford High School classmate come up to me downtown. We met, and she told me that she wanted me to bring this up forward. And she said that she found out, and I don't know if this is true or not, because I don't know if this is true or not, but she said the private developer will not do anything further unless he gets to build a gambling establishment casino at the stadium. And I said, how'd you get that information? She said she read it in the newspaper. So I'm kind of like, I'm bringing it up because it's just weird. I mean, it's like last.
So as mentioned, the developer has to find private sector investment. I'm the one who introduced the bill to say, well, let's play ball. Let's put a casino on that entertainment district. I mean, nothing says casino. So that bill had a hearing. The bill died. It didn't even get out of the committee. But the idea was, and Boyd Gaming was mentioning that if Hawaii were to legalize a casino, they would drop $700 million go build us a casino, which would help, in getting the stadium that we as a community would like to see. But yeah, so that was true that the casino bill was put forward. Sanford Carr, the developer, said, yay, give me that opportunity. The bill died. He said that he's still going to have some struggle. As mentioned earlier, money, investor money. So it was a tool that he really was supportive of, but that because casino died doesn't mean that the stadium is dead.
Or any other questions for the senator?
Mahalo, Senator Wakai. It's great to hear. Thank you for supporting the board's efforts with the Genki balls. And so like you really came in strong from the get-go in doing that. And I know you only hear complaints all the time. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to say mahalo for that and that support there. And then like I had mentioned earlier with the state representative here, the governor's representative, whoever comes in front of you folks for the Water Commission confirmation, I hope you guys look really long and hard to the intent of that seat, that lower seat, and make sure that it aligns with that. That's super important. The Water Commission is super important to all of us who live in all the water drinkers in Hawaii. That is a very important position. So I heard he just withdrew his name, Honorary Jig, so it'll go back into it again. But yeah, hopefully you'll be our champion there to make sure that aligns. Mahalo.
I mean, having good pure water is vital to every one of our existence. And the only difference between the House and the Senate is the Senate has confirmation power. So I'm happy to make sure that we vet whoever that next nominee might be.
Anything else, the board, Senator? Audience, anything for the senator? I have a couple questions, Senator. As far as the gambling issue at Aloha Stadium, I think would have been on better footing with the legislature if you guys started small with lotto drawings, Mega Millions, and scratch cards. That could have been a good revenue. Have an office at the stadium, I mean, outside of the stadium as part of NASDAQ. But you guys went for the whole touchdown and guess they fumbled at
We
whatever
went
yard line.
big and came up craps.
Yeah, so, I mean, Hawaii is overdue. I think we need to get into that lotto game and like every other state. I think Hawaii and one other state, the only ones that are not involved in this lotto drawings of these Mega Millions drawings and scratch cards. So
You
that's
might-
an idea to put forward.
You might be interested to know, I mean, one of the bills we passed today was legalizing sports betting. And I'm okay with sports betting, lottery, all of those things, but I really want, I mean, if the state of Hawaii is going to go gambling, we should do something that's actually going to create jobs. Sports betting will create absolutely no jobs here. There's some tax revenue. Lotteries will create 5, 10 jobs, but really it's not going to create jobs other than the tax benefits that we would get from it. That's why, I mean, I think if we're going to go in, let's go all in on a casino, which will provide a lot of jobs for our neighbors and residents.
Vice Chair Ine.
Just one more question. Dealing with the Trumponomics that is happening right now at the federal level. I just coined that, by the way. So if anybody uses it after this, yeah, you got it. How is it? So now we're seeing the lack of resiliency in the job market that once had, right? The government jobs and federal jobs and state jobs, especially here in Hawaii, are the stronghold of our economies here. Is the legislature or do you guys have any ideas of how you're gonna be more resilient in the next couple years, especially when a recession is facing us? You know, we're looking in the face of a recession right now. Is there anything that we can help support you with that's happening at the legislature right now on those lines? Or do you have any ideas that you want to put forward that, you know, we can get behind as a board?
Gambling. No, I'm just joking. Just kidding. There are some bills that are going to increase taxes, one of which was the increase of the TAT, the hotel occupancy tax, by 1%. Governor Green wants that for his climate action team. The lawmakers are looking at perhaps doing the 1%, but putting it into the general funds to go and pay for all the shortfalls that we anticipate from the Trump administration. Last I remember, we had a Ways and Means Committee meeting, and the chairman said that we should be expecting a loss of $250 million to some of Trump's, and that's not on the employment side. That's just purely on cuts to government services. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a pretty big PUCA. Yesterday, the Council on Revenues, that's the entity that kind of guides us as to how much we can spend in the future, dropped their optimistic outlook. That was a loss of about $200 million. So combined, 250 from Trump, 200 from just the economy that's in front of us. We're looking at a $450 million PUCA in the state budget. So last year, we gave all of you the biggest tax cut in state history. We might be looking at, it'll be less historic in the future. We might have to shave back on the give that we gave you last year. But those are some of the items that are on the table because it's going to be some tough lean years ahead for the state.
And one last question, Senator. To those forms that you speak about at the airport, I'm one of the 40% that don't fill it out. I put it in the barf bag.
Don't worry, nobody's will
and
prosecute
I've
you.
never filled it out in my life. And that's not what the law reads. I hope the state follows the law. It mandates whoever's they need to declare. But if you have nothing to declare, I don't know why we're filling out that form in the first place, because I read the law. It doesn't state that you have to fill that form and check none of the above. Nothing in the law says that. It just mandates you to declare if you have certain items. So I like your thing about not filling out that papers because it's a waste of time. A lot of that papers go in a rubbish or in a barf bags. But we need to look at why are we forcing others that's not having anything to declare to fill out that form. And I'm assuming it's because on the other end, they do this tourism thing And that's my thoughts.
That tourism data is golden for the state of Hawaii. Hawaii has the best tourism data in the nation because of that. So to your point, I'm not super interested in the ag form. I think it's kind of a joke. But the tourism stuff on the back, which we ask you to volunteer, gives us great information. And you know, when we talk about marketing of tourism of Hawaii to the U.S. mainland, we really don't know what campaigns are striking people to come to Hawaii. And if you think about it, if we can put that on an online format, we can change the questions. Once I print 6 million pieces of paper, I can't change the question. So we can ask you, oh, Kilauea started erupting last week. Was that the reason why you came to Hawaii? Was it Jurassic Park and the 10 movies there that compelled you to come here? Is it the cuisine? What is it that, you know, compels you to come to Hawaii? Then we can make sure that our marketing dollars are going in the right areas. Because right now we just kind of throw marketing campaigns out there and we really don't have any idea what compels tourists to come here. So yes, I think that's an added benefit for us to be able to really fine tune our questions on the tourism data part, which is mandated on the backside of the agriculture form. So that there's so many pluses for us going digital.
Sure, Vice Chair.
Sorry, just one more thing. Your efforts with biosecurity, and I think you hit it right on the head. We need more active ways of catching all of the bad things that are coming into Hawaii. Yes, more doggies, you know, at the airport, more investigators is doing that. Biosecurity, once that's impacted here in Hawaii, Hawaii will never be the same. If we have the brown tree snake here and it takes off, yeah, our natural environment will go down. It's already failing through the coconut rhinoceros beetle. That's really impacting us. And if we get any other large animals that become predators here in Hawaii, or mosquitoes or flies or any of those kinds of things that get into Hawaii, ask the Hawaii Island people about the koki frog, right? Thank goodness it's not poisonous and doesn't actually kill any of the other species. But if you've ever spent any time on Hawaii Island, you will know what an infestation of something that wasn't checked appropriately when it came in to prevent its invasiveness here. So thank you. I applaud all your efforts with making biosecurity, you know, a top priority. And anything we can do to support you on that. If there's hearings that you need us to come and speak on, I'll be there to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. As a total aside, one of those beagles that sniffs your bag is $250,000 for one of those things. Yeah, buggers are expensive. You should be training beagles.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Ichiyama's office.
Aloha, Chair, members of the board, members of the community, Shonda Dallas Reyes for Representative Linda Ichiyama. So Senator Wakai had a really nice bill overview. I just want to let you folks, I know you are familiar with the process, but we are just at the halfway point, past the halfway point, crossover. So currently we have House bills in the Senate, Senate bills in the House. According to the House Majority Staff Office, about 375 House bills have crossed to the Senate, and then 386 Senate bills in the House currently. As it stands, as I'm speaking in front of you folks, the referrals have hit the floor. These bills are going through committees. That number has dwindled, and it will continue to dwindle throughout the session. And you folks should have our community updates in front of you. Once again, I know you folks are familiar with the process, but for any community members who may watch this later, if they would like to track or testify on any bills of interest, they're able to do that through the Capitol website. Even if you don't want to participate actively, you're able to watch hearings online on YouTube at the comfort of your home. Excuse me. And at the bottom of the first page, you can see CIP releases from the governor's office. Senator Wakai mentioned Moanalua High School. We also have CIP funds for Makalapa Elementary, Salt Lake Elementary, and I believe Aliamanu. Towards the back, as you folks mentioned earlier, we have reminders for Genki Ball Toss. And then this Saturday on March 15th, an e-waste event sponsored by Battery Bell. And with that, that's all I have for you folks.
Questions from the board? Secretary?
Thank you very much for being here this evening. Recently there was a little disconcerting concern of mine. Why is it that Representative Ichiyama and Representative Shimizu, they both voted against or not in favor of the bill for killing the stadium? That's what they were doing.
Is this Rep Garrett's bill, the
yes.
UH Stadium bill?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was a bit concerned about it. I was, off on a vacation, and so I wasn't able to attend, any kind of hearing for that. But it was very disappointing because Senator Wakai has been so active for the past 10 years supporting the stadium and trying to, implement it's for our economy, for this district area also. And, for the two representatives from our district, to vote in the House side against it, it's appalling. It is really, really very disappointing. So I wanted to know what the reasonings that they had regarding their decision to vote against it.
Yeah, mahalo for that, Board Member Kanemaru. Off the top of my head, I obviously can't speak for Representative Ichiyama. We have received a number of emails regarding that bill. I do know that Representative Ichiyama believes this would undermine all the work that NISET has done so far. But I'm happy to take all that back to her and we'll have an answer for you, if not through email or any direct lines we have from you. If you're willing to wait, for me, I'd be happier to do it more immediately to get you an answer. But if we could talk offline after, just so I can get your contact. Yeah, mahalo. Okay, I figured.
Board, any other questions? Audience, any other questions? Representative Ichiyama, I was against the stadium at first. I wanted Disneyland there, but that never happened.
Right.
So everybody has their opinions and we change as time goes on, but maybe she found out some information, he found out some information, and we're back on track. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, mahalo. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.
On to Representative Shimizu.
Aloha. My name is Carol Kapu. I'm the office manager for Representative Shimizu. Nice to meet you all. Passed out the newsletter for this month, and our survey results are no surprise to any of you that the most top issue facing our state from our constituents is the cost of living. And so Rep. Shimizu is working really hard to try and get the cost of living down as much as possible because we know how hard it is to make ends meet. And so although he's introduced bills this year to do things like tax credits for people who are caring for their kupuna, and extending the preschool open doors program for childcare costs. His particular bills did not pass this year. They're no longer moving, but the rest, there are still bills doing those things. So we're still watching those things. And then I also passed out the directory to you folks. So it's a helpful tool to find all the people that you want to talk to. It's got all the numbers and emails in it. So everybody else has talked about the legislative process. So it's kind of, I won't do that. You've already heard that. So if you have any questions, and Rep. Shimizu does support the stadium. So I'm not sure, I'll have to go back and look specifically about what you're talking about, but he is a supporter of the stadium.
Any questions for Representative Shimizu's office? Audience, any questions? Thank you for coming on.
Well,
Anybody on the federal side here? Okay, let's get into presentations. We have the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers regarding the Radford High School contamination remediation update.
Hi, good evening. Kevin Pien with the Army Corps of Engineers. We sent the slide deck over. Did anyone receive that? Or I can run out to my car and grab my laptop so we can
That's
plug
okay.
it in. And the next person can go while I'm away.
Okay, well, we'll hold off to the next one. Let's get the other group first, and then you can be on a second on this list. Red Hill Fuel Bulk Storage Facility update.
Okay. Chuck's my Vanna White. Thanks, Chuck. Good evening, Chair Yomes, board members, community members. My name is Joanna Delphin. I am with the Navy Closure Task Force, Red Hill. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here tonight to give you an update on something I know that the community is very concerned about. So if you'll take a look at the poster board, you'll see what we call our lines of effort, which is basically our mission in 3 chunks. So up on the top, you'll see we have decommissioning. So decommissioning is really a way of saying that we are working to decommission the underground storage tanks at Red Hill in order for us to actually close the facility. On that, sorry, I'm gonna have to orient myself like this. Yeah, so I skipped one up top. So AFFF is kind of where Navy Closure Task Force started. So we stood up about a year ago and took the mission from Joint Task Force Red Hill after they removed about 104 million gallons of fuel from the facility. After Joint Task Force stood down and after they removed that fuel, Navy Closure Task Force removed 1,000 gallons of AFFF concentrate that was in the facility. That was shipped off island. It's no longer on island. So in our eyes, we've removed the immediate threat to the aquifer, which was the fuel and the AFFF concentrate. Under that decommissioning portion up top, you'll also see tank cleaning, which is currently the process that Navy Closure Task Force is in. That is a 4-step process that we, again, are currently in, and it involves preparation of the tanks for cleaning, actual cleaning of the tanks to include pressure washing, and it's preparation, removal of sludge, pressure washing, and tank commission. So last summer, we started with the first set of tanks, which were tanks 7 and 8. We began that process in June after approval from the regulators and after a marine chemist certified that the tanks were safe to enter. So in the first step of the sludge removal, the first step of the tank cleaning process is preparation. So, we open up the tanks, we assess it, and we inject water into it to loosen the sludge at the bottom of the tanks. Once that sludge is loose, is loose and it flows up to the top, it's actually drained from the tanks. Once that happens and we're able to remove all of that flowable sludge, we go into the step 2, which is the removal of the solid sludge at the bottom. What that is that we actually have team members who enter the tanks at the elevator at the top, go down to the bottom, and they actually manually scoop up the sludge that's there, put them in buckets, and bring them back up to the surface where they are stored until they are shipped off island. Step 3 of the process is pressure washing, and we are currently, tanks 7 and 8 are currently in that process. That's our first set of tanks. That process was completed recently, and tanks 7 and 8 are right now being evaluated by our team and the Department of Health and EPA to certify that the pressure washing meets all of their qualifications to finally get to step 4, which is certification that the tank is clean and that we can successfully decommission those tanks. So once those tanks are certified clean, we will go ahead and secure the tank, and a lockable hatch will be installed so no one will enter it once it's certified clean. Some quick facts about tank cleaning. We've removed 520 residual gallons of residual fuel from various locations in the facility as we unhook tanks from the pipeline system and the drains associated with them, including the low point valves. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. Pipeline removal is something else that we are also working on. So there's about 10 miles of pipeline that exist in the Red Hill tunnels. If you can think about it this way, if you take the distance between Pearl Harbor and Diamond Head, that's what we're kind of looking at. And our intent from the very beginning was to remove those pipelines. We are in the initial stages of that. We have not removed any pipelines as of yet. We're hoping to start that process later this year. And once we do start that process, we'll be sure to go ahead and let the community know the steps that we're taking, working with the regulators to ensure that everything is done deliberately and safely, not only for our employees who are working inside the tunnel, for the community and the environment as well. If you would like to stay up to date with all of their tank cleaning operations, all of the progress, we actually have a counter that will show you the amount of sludge that has been removed from the facility. You can find that information on our website and also on our mobile app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can look on the App Store. It's NCTF hyphen Red Hill. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll move down. Sorry, I should also let you know that on the top, those lines of effort, the AFFF removal, the tank cleaning, and the pipeline removal, you can see that those are kind of all on a timeline. So each of those lines of effort have, we've kind of identified the amount of time that we're allowing ourselves to complete that. So as we go through each of those processes, we'll send out press releases, we'll inform the public of our progress that's being made and all of the safety precautions that we're taking to ensure, again, protection of the environment, our team, as well as the entire community. Underneath the timeline, these are kind of more long-lasting efforts for Navy Closure Task Force, which include our environmental remediation efforts and water resiliency, as well as community outreach, which is something like this. We actually did the same presentation Tuesday. We did it Tuesday at the IA Neighborhood Board. So they actually received the same presentation. So yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about environmental and remediation. So the environment and remediation side of it, or what's at the top? I'm trying to go in order. So strengthening water resiliency, it's kind of a fancy way of saying that we're making it better, right? We have efforts in place to make the water better and offer additional sources of water to the Joint Base Pearl Harbor drinking water system and all of the facilities and residences associated with it. Since the November 2021 incident, after the Red Hill shaft was cut off, all of the drinking water to the system was and continues to be supplied from the Waiava shaft, which is more than 6 miles away from where that incident or where that happened. We are constantly improving the infrastructure to provide better quality of water, and that includes our drinking water testing and sampling that we've done over the years. We've done enhanced sampling first after the spill with the long-term drinking water program. And that program lasted 2 years. After that program ended, the Navy voluntarily created the extended drinking water monitoring plan for another year. That program actually ends this month, after which the drinking water system will fall back into regulatory drinking water compliance, which is what is required of all drinking water providers. Sorry. On top of strengthening water resiliency, we continue to plan and design a permanent drinking water treatment facility at the Red Hill Shaft. So that's one of the initiatives that we have as well with regard to environment and remediation. Let me see. I didn't touch on this in the beginning, but we also recently started degassing tank 3 at the facility earlier this week. And along with degassing of the tanks, we provide hourly updates of air quality monitoring on our mobile app and daily updates on our website. So with regard to site assessment and remediation, this refers to the environmental cleanup and protective actions that the Navy has been taking at Red Hill for many years, as well as current and future initiatives. We've begun and are in the process of conducting a site assessment to determine the next steps of what could be a long period of remediation. So it's just like if you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor you're not feeling well, the doctor assesses you to figure out how best to treat your symptoms, which is what we're in the process of doing now. There are, through community engagements like this, there are always opportunities for us to take back the feedback that we get from the community to inform some of the decisions that are being made. Our focus is to safely and deliberately remediate the environment in and around Red Hill. Part of that also includes our groundwater monitoring network of 45 groundwater monitoring wells. So those wells allow us to take a look at if there's any movement of any substances in the groundwater. If they're going outside of Red Hill, we can detect that before it gets anywhere. If it goes anywhere outside the facility, we can go ahead and be notified of that as soon as we see that, if we do. So we're constantly monitoring the water the groundwater in and around the area, as well as the air when we do degas the tanks. And then lastly, you'll see at the bottom is our communication. So that is long lasting. We understand that at the beginning of the crisis, there was a lot of frustration with regards to the communication. And we have tried our best, and we will continue to try our best to, find any opportunity that we can to continue interacting with the community and keep you all updated and informed of all of our operations that are going on and answer any of the questions that you may have. So I am happy to take your questions, and I will answer them the best that I can. I'm not a scientist, but I will try my very best.
Board, any questions? Carrie?
Thank you very much for being here. Great presentation. It's good to hear of the progress that has been made on the decommissioning timeline. Excellent. Now, I know you talked a lot about environmental remediation. What I'm still concerned about is I know that there has been a group of representatives from the community, and I know there's a little controversy there about meeting with these people who are representatives, because it does get a little hairy sometimes. But anyway, what I'm still concerned about is the health of those citizens who have lived on the bases, and what kinds of actions have you folks taken to protect your people?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for that question. The medical side of the house with regard to the concerns are outside the purview of Navy Closure Task Force. That's kind of more of the the Defense Health Agency, who we work with. They've actually set up the Red Hill Clinic to intake patients who come to them with any symptoms. They've had a registry, and then I also know that the University of Hawaii also has a Red Hill registry that I know they're opening up soon to have concerned citizens enroll in and see how they can get the best care. But with regard to medical concerns, that's more of a Defense Health Agency question and not so much, yeah, you're welcome. I'm sorry, I can give you the website for the Defense Health Agency.
Mr. Gower.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation. I like the board. I had a question on the cleaning, the tank cleaning. Which wastewater plant will be getting the discharge and all the waste from the tank cleaning?
So the wastewater is actually collected. I don't believe any of it actually stays on island. I'll have to verify that for you. But I'm not quite sure exactly. I don't think it'll stay on island, but I can verify that for you, and I can send an answer back to the chair.
Treasurer Godfrey, you had something? Anybody else on the board? Audience, anything? Thank you. Okay, next up, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
It's coming up.
Just has to move together.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Kevin Pien with the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm the project manager for the Makalapa Crater Navy Salvage Yard, formerly used defense site. Here to give you folks a briefing on the status and background of the project as requested at the November meeting. Next slide, please. This is a brief introduction to our project. The property owners are the Department of Land and Natural Resources for Makalapa Elementary School and the city and county for Radford High School. The site user is obviously the Hawaii Department of Education. From the Corps of Engineers, we have myself, Richard Tanaka, who is our FUDS program manager, and I'd also like to acknowledge that our commander, Lieutenant Colonel Adrian Biggerstaff, is here as well tonight. We also get contractual and technical management support from our Huntsville Design Center, and our regulator is the Hawaii Department of Health. So on the right-hand side are the goals of our presentation, what we'll be going over tonight, the site location and history, why is this a formerly used defense site, the Superfund process, the Corps' actions and status, as well as some resources, and we'll take your questions at the end. So a little bit of history about the area. As you can kind of see from the picture, in blue is the Makalapa Crater boundary, and in 1941 it looked like this, and there was a pond or a lake in the center, but it was subsequently filled with dredging spoils from Pearl Harbor. The Navy also acquired this area in green, 19.3 acres, which became the Navy Salvage Yard. Next slide, please. And the usage of the salvage yard was as a burning dump and landfill. And you can see from the picture on the left that there's piles of scrap, mounds of scrap piled up around the salvage yard. In the top right, there's some material that's destined for the salvage yard. And the bottom right is a picture of Radford High School in the 60s. So why is this a formerly used defense site? In the 50s and 70s, the property was transferred from the Navy to the city and county of Honolulu and the state of Hawaii. Subsequently, schools were built on the former landfill, Radford High School and Makalapa Elementary School, it should say. Fast forward to 2014 to 2015, when DOE was renovating the track area of Radford High School, they ran into buried debris and chemical contamination, and the Navy undertook a time-critical removal action, or TICRA. The TICRA found chemical contaminated soil and conducted a removal of that soil and found that further study of the site was necessary. In 2015, the site was transferred to the purview of the Army Corps of Engineers for inclusion in our formerly used defense site program. Next slide, please. So why is the Army Corps involved? We're the lead agency for any properties that were formerly owned by the Department of Defense and were transferred subsequently prior to 1986 October. So we take the lead on cleaning up these types of contamination, hazardous, toxic, and radioactive waste, which refers to chemical contamination, munitions like the kind that is found on the Big Island at Waikalua Maneuver Area, as well as building debris. And all of our work is done in close coordination with state and local partners as well as property owners. The overall goal of the FUDS program is the protection of human health and the environment. So this is where the formerly used defense site is located. It's indicated in the green boundary. The only thing to note of on this slide is that we are adjacent to an active Navy installation where they are undergoing their own separate but parallel Superfund investigation. So we follow the same process, but because it's still under Navy control, the Navy takes care of the investigation of that side, whereas the Corps of Engineers has responsibility for the green boundary. Next slide, please. So a little closer focus in on the area of interest. The formerly used defense site footprint is comprised primarily of the playground area of Makalapa Elementary School and the athletic complex of Radford High School. So the football field, gymnasium, soccer field, baseball fields, tennis courts. The vast majority of the administrative buildings and classrooms are not within the project footprint. And the state health officials have deemed that both schools remain safe for school operations. This is an overview of the process that we follow. It's called CERCLA, otherwise known as Superfund. It's broken into multiple phases. Each phase can take on the order of years to complete. In 2016, we completed a preliminary assessment of the site, reviewing historical documentation to identify potential contaminants of concern. And we're currently at the remedial investigation phase, the purpose of which is to determine what chemical contaminants might be present, how much is there, and where it's located. Next slide, please. So we conducted between 2017 and 2021 the remedial investigation sampling for the chemical contamination, at the end of which it was agreed upon by the Department of Health and by the Army Corps that additional investigation was necessary. So we completed that additional investigation in 2024, which was for landfill gases is what we were testing for, as well as some uninvestigated soil areas in Makalapa Elementary. Also in 2024, we prepared a probability assessment for military munitions at the site, which found a low probability designation for the possibility of finding munitions at the site. No unexploded ordnance has ever been found to date at the surface or subsurface of the project. Currently, we're here at 2025 and we've integrated the results of the supplemental sampling into the remedial investigation report. and have sent that to the Department of Health for their review. And we're currently resolving their comments. Some pictures here of the sampling that took place in spring break of last year. On the left, you have a worker taking some soil samples from a soil core boring. And in the middle and on the right is the landfill gas testing. Next slide. This is an overview of our schedule. As I mentioned, we're in the remedial investigation phase. We'll be following that up with a feasibility study to evaluate cleanup options for the site. And then we will submit a preferred alternative for cleanup in the proposed plan, at which point we will also have a public meeting open for public comment onto our preferred alternative. We will select and memorialize that selection in the record of decision, followed by remedial design, and finally implementation of the cleanup action. As I mentioned, we are in close coordination with Department of Education and Department of Health as standard practice. In spring of this year, we're going to be soliciting for the public for interest in forming a restoration advisory board, the purpose of which is to provide community input into our process. So we'll be soliciting for that in the near future. We also have a project website where we post regular updates on the progress of the project. And it also has multiple project documents and reports, and it's available at this website and through this QR code. And we can be reached at this email address at the bottom here. That completes the presentation. I'm open to your questions.
Board, any questions? Mr. Gaur.
Thank you, Chair. Is there any way the FUDS program is has a list of sites or potential sites that could be a FUDS site that the developer could find out beforehand that, oh, it's a potential site? Because it seems in this case that DOE started digging and then oh, we got potential FUDS site.
Yeah, there's a national database mapping where all the FUD sites are located. And so that's publicly accessible. I can send you the link to that.
Board, any other questions?
Aloha, Colonel Biggerstaff. Mahalo for coming. Mahalo for USACE for providing this update. I just checked out your guys' website. Really good information on there. Thank you for that. I'll keep watching, on that to get more information. Mahalo for your presentation. And I'm just shocked, I didn't know all that stuff beforehand about the site. I only knew bits and pieces. So thank you for your presentation. Mahalo.
Secretary Kanemaru.
I'm not into, what FUDS is all about, but I'm learning. I'm just kind of curious. Why does it take so long for the whole process? And by 2029, I do believe was when, you folks said that there'll be some kind of
action taken.
so-called options. Yeah. So sorry about the, my lack of understanding the whole process itself, but it seems to be taking, some time for it to be happening. It's like, isn't it kind of urgent? Because, the school is right there. Both schools are right there, that we try to take care of it as quickly as possible. I know maybe it's not your decision, but I'm just wondering why it takes so long, that it's going to be 2029 before completion of the cleanup.
Thank you for your question. If there was an urgent need, we could act quicker and do a time critical removal action as well. But it was deemed that the risk was not high enough to justify that.
Audience have any questions? I have one. You guys said this is low probability. What's underground? How do you know that?
We are basing that on historical documentation and everything that's been found at the site to date has been inert munitions debris. So like shell casings, cartridge casings, nothing with high explosives in it has ever been found at the site.
I don't know if it came from your office, but on the media, when they covered this, they said as long as the ground is not disturbed. That alarms me. We're dealing with children, we're dealing with kids. My thing is, as soon as they found out about this, they should have closed down both schools, worked on the whole property. The federal government relocate these schools until the whole property is done. But that wasn't the case. Now we're gonna wait about another 5 years to there's this remediation. It's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you for your comment.
Audience, thank you. Moving on to Aloha Stadium.
Aloha Chair Yomes, members of the board and members of the community. Chris Kirimaka, Special Projects Manager for the Department of Accounting and General Services. And I'm joined by Chris Sarayasu, Interim Stadium Manager now. First, I wanted to go ahead and extend again our mahalo for your community to be so active in our community engagement meeting that we had in February. We had a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good information, and just wanted to rest assured that all of that information is being incorporated into our diligence and negotiation work with Aloha Halava District partners. For whatever questions we weren't able to address that night, we have subsequently gotten the answers, and all of the questions and answers are on our website for everyone to view. So please continue to stay on top and engaged. The other item we were going to talk about, it was legislation tonight, and mahalo to Senator Wakai for taking care of pretty much half of our list of bills that we've been tracking. Thank goodness House Bill 1494, the language on lapsing our money has been removed by the Senate. That gives us a better green light to move forward. The language it's being replaced with is Senate Bill 1589, which was a Stadium Development Special Fund. That gives us the vehicle now to receive private donations into the special fund to apply to the stadium infrastructure and stadium development itself. So that is a big plus for us as well. The other two bills we noted were just related to naming rights, and today the House received that, moved that bill forward, and they restricted the naming rights to just the stadium and the convention center. Truthfully, we don't really need that because we already have the rights for naming facilities on site. They did want to say we still have to conform to signage requirements. And then the last bill is just Senate Bill 891 on economic development to create a gaming working group within DBEDT. And that's more to study what gaming benefits are and how you would implement in the state. So those are good bills to keep alive. That's all I had for NASED, and I'll go ahead and let Chris give you an update on activities at the stadium.
Chris, and so we just had the Great Aloha Run on the February 17th, a great event with thousands of runners. And then Girl Scout Cookies Pickup was on February 20th. We still have our swap meet going on Wednesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. And then we're doing a drive with the food bank. So visitors and residents coming can do donations to the food bank. So thank you for that.
I did want to address Member Omura, your comment or question about the gambling infusion of funds. We would never turn down $700 million infusion, but that isn't the only alternative we're looking at. So our project is still moving forward. The developer is still looking at additional ways to bring funding to bear. So still moving forward. And we're open for questions.
Any questions, board, for the stadium? Audience, any questions for the stadium? Thank you. On to the military, U.S. Navy.
Aloha, Chair Yomes and board members. Chuck Anthony with the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. I can have just a couple of quick announcements and then I'll turn it over to Uncle Vic. Number one, just save the date announcement. April 16th is the next Restoration Advisory Board meeting for Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. It's going to be at the Oahu Veteran Center, 5:30 p.m. That is tentative, the time. It might change a little bit, but I'll have the full information available during next month's board meeting. And again, the Restoration Advisory Board meeting is on the 16th, the week after that. The other thing is, for anyone who might be interested, we're holding ship tours one Saturday a month. If anybody has any interest in having a group come in to do a ship tour, just let me know and I'll make sure we can schedule that. It could be any Saturday, depending upon what meets the needs of the folks from the community who are interested in coming out and what ships are available. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Uncle Vic.
Thanks, Brother Chuck. Great job holding up that sign, brother. Victor Flint, Public Works. Thank you, board. Thanks, Nicole, for recognizing the Suafua family. I just learned tonight that Coach's family member, cousin, Joe Suafua, was my captain in the fire department. And going along with what was read tonight with Captain Joe, I was always the smallest and whitest guy on the crew. And Joe had my back, Captain Joe Suafua. So it was a pleasure and an honor listening to the presentation. Those lay and the lepo was awesome. Mike, Kai, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now my presentation. Dry Dock 5, moving forward. A lot of the prefab work dealing with the floors, they're all poured concrete floors. They're done on Waipio Peninsula. I'm still choked up over that thing. The prefabbing is done on Waipio Peninsula and then barged over to the shipyard. This way, it takes the Navy construction traffic off of our roads, especially during peak hours. So that is awesome. And so far, along with the floors being prefabbed and constructed, the pile driving is POW, the dredging is POW, and things are just moving forward. So that's very good. The Pearl Harbor Restoration Advisory Board is April 16th. I believe it's going to be at the Veterans Center in Foster Village. And the last is an announcement. And that announcement is after 50 years of government service, to include the 32 years in the fire department, I'm retiring. And I thank you. And I'm humbled by what you're doing to the Salt Lake Aliamanu community. Awesome, you guys. And mahalo plenty for allowing me to be a part of that journey. So with that, I say to you all, aloha kako and ahui ho. Thank you very much.
Board, any questions for the Navy? Vice Chair Hine.
Mahalo, Victor. You know, my very first meeting, or that first round that I was a board member, I believe I yelled at you. And you took it right on the chin and you took it like a champ and still showed aloha throughout this whole time and got the answers that I needed to. That was in the height of Red Hill. I was not very happy with the Navy at that time, but you've always come back consistently, and you and Chuck, you know, have been very consistent at providing information and dealing with our questions and our comments. So thank you for your service all these years. And I'm going to echo this for the Navy and for the Army, even USACE that's here too, with what's happening at the federal government level. I'm hoping that there's efforts that go on within the military branches that take care of the veterans. right? And I don't know if that's something that any of you guys have any kind of power over, but since you guys are here and you represent the best of the military branches, I just want to shout out, because what's going to happen very shortly to veterans and Veterans Affairs is scary. You know, I don't want to see any more homeless veterans out there, especially for what they've done. My grandfather was a veteran. My father was a veteran too. So anything that you guys can do, and then any kind of support that, you know, the community can give, let us all know with that. But mahalo, Victor, and mahalo, Chuck.
Yeah, Iki, thanks.
Victor, thank you for your service to this community through the years. I've been here since you started with us, and you've been so helpful to this community. Oh, you didn't have the answer, you got the answer for us. And you didn't wait till the next meeting. You sent it through an email. No matter if anybody on this board had a question, and you made sure we got the answers. So, you know, you'll be truly missed in this community, and I hope you enjoy your retirement. But thank you so much.
If I have your Salt Lake widening boulevard.
Time, but here you go. And Vic, I got you 99 cents lay in my car.
I need to hook
you got
up with
big
you.
money.
Oh my God. I have your stuff. I'm gonna have to give it to you either tomorrow or maybe next week, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
United States Army?
I think I might have broke it. There we go. Aloha, Chair Yomes, board members, Lieutenant Colonel Pratt, Deputy Brigade Commander for 516th Signal Brigade, and your Army representative for this neighborhood board. Tonight, only one thing that I'm going to bring up and put out for the board and for the community. So we'd like to invite everyone out to the National Vietnam Veterans Day Parade. That is honoring all who served in Vietnam, thanking them for their service and sacrifice. And that's on Saturday, March 29th. It's going to start at 4:30 p.m. at Fort DeRussy, and the parade will begin at 6. So it'll proceed along Kalakaua into Waikiki, and it'll have marching bands, different groups, military units, as well as community groups from around Hawaii and also from the mainland. So we'd like to see everyone that can come out to the parade. That would be awesome. With that, I open it up to any questions that you might have with me.
Board, any questions for the Army? Audience, any questions for the Army? Thank you, Lieutenant. You go on to agenda, Board of Water Supply.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Llanos, and I'll be representing Board of Water Supply tonight. I wanted to follow up on a question that I got last month. Board member Godfrey, you just had a question about the higher than normal water readings at your building. And I'm just here to report that Board of Water Supply staff conducted a meter investigation and spoke with the president, Dave Arthur, who confirmed that a leak was found within the property. Repairs were made, and BWS staff provided leak detection dye tablets for all units to assist with further monitoring of leaks. You're welcome. So now I'll move on to my monthly report. There were no main breaks to report last month, so I'll just move on to the general water announcement. Board of Water Supply is hiring. Thirsty for a stable career? The Board of Water Supply is hiring. We have open positions in engineering, information technology, customer care, and administrative roles. enjoy great benefits, job security, and the opportunity to grow and make a difference. It's time to turn the valve on a new career that matters. Apply today at www.boardofwatersupply.com/jobs or call 808-748-5160. That's the end of my report, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board, any questions, Board of Water Supply? Audience, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on our agenda, approval of the February 13th regular meeting minutes. Is there any changes to this report? Hearing none, the minutes will be submitted as is. Moving on to our next meeting announcements. Next meeting is on April 10th, same venue here at 6:30 p.m. Board, anything you need to add at this point before we close the meeting? Okay, I'll leave it up to you.
The City and County of Honolulu and Hawaii Food Bank are partnering to fight against hunger. I will be collecting donated canned goods at the next neighborhood board meeting on Wednesday, April 10th. So if you have any donations, non-perishable goods, please bring it to the next meeting.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to our meeting this evening. This meeting is adjourned.